When you eat large meal, three most important things happen in your body. First, your blood glucose and insulin levels spike in your blood. Second, your body gets stress. This is called oxidative stress, and inflammation starts in the body. And third, your heart rate increases, blood pressure drops, and you feel dizzy and sleepy. After a large meal, a person feels weakness, lightheadedness, fatigue, blurred vision, sweating, and sometimes palpitation. It happens because blood diverts to the stomach to help digestion and blood pressure drops. As compensation, the heart starts working faster, heart rate increases, and person feels these palpitations. Low blood pressure causes weakness, lightheadedness, and dizziness. These symptoms start within 20 minutes, sometimes later, and last around 2 hours. The more carbohydrate you eat, the higher the risk. If you add protein and fats into the meal, this weakness effect is less pronounced. Blood pressure usually drops after intake about 600 or more calories, but even 100 grams of glucose can cause hypotensive effect in sensitive people, so it strongly depends on what you eat, not only amount. The second and more important problem with large meal is that it increases glucose level in the blood, and high blood glucose can reach up to 200 mg per deciliter, while normal level is 140. This high blood glucose is a problem because it binds to proteins, and this combination damages blood vessels and the brain. This process is called glycation. On the other hand, high glucose can cause oxidative stress in arteries and stimulates insulin. Insulin level increases sometimes 5 to 10 times higher than normal. This hyperreaction of insulin can cause reactive hypoglycemia, which leads to shakiness, hunger, mood swings after 1 to 2 hours from large meal. Repeated stimulation of beta cells in the pancreas causes pancreatic stress and diabetic symptoms. Also, insulin stimulates fast storage and causes fatty liver and vascular stiffness. Even worse, constantly elevated insulin level can stimulate insulin-like growth factor and promote cancer cell growth. A large meal also causes elevation of triglycerides. These triglycerides can increase up to 100% within 6 hours. They increase the risk of clot formation and add more oxidative stress on blood vessels. This damaging effect and oxidative stress for the body is consistent and measurable. For example, when you eat more than 600 calories, inflammatory markers in the blood increases 2 or 3 times above baseline. To make it more clear, after a fast food combo like burgers, fries, and soda, 1000 calories combined, blood tests show elevated interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor within 4 hours. Another important problem with large meal is reflux. When you eat more than 1000 calories at once, the stomach becomes overfilled and pressurizes. This pressure pushes the stomach content back into the esophagus. The stretching of the stomach relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter and causes reflux. Especially fatty foods delay gastric emptying, and with high-calorie meals, even bile from duodenum can reflux back into stomach and then into esophagus. These reflux problems usually happens after 30 to 60 minutes after eating. This is why it's better not to lie down or bend forward after a meal. Now let's say, what is a large meal exactly? In healthy adults, when they eat more than 1000 calories, it already causes measurable oxidative stress, reflux, and postprandial hypotension. High carbohydrate meals, even total calories are not high, still can consider large meal. For example, 75 grams of glucose can cause strong glucose spike. High-fat meals can trigger triglycerides peak, lasting up to 6 hours. Mixed fast food meals, usually up to 1,500 calories, high in sugar and fat, produce strongest oxidative stress. By volume, the stomach can hold up to 1 liter of food comfortable, including fluids. But it's better if your meal volume will be less than 400 grams per eat. Now let's say what we can do to reduce oxidative stress after eating a large meal. Large meals are especially harmful for people with diabetes, heart disease, or reflux. They should try to eat even less than 500 calories in one sitting. Large meals are less harmful for athletes, for people who exercise a lot, because high-calorie post-workout meal is handled better. This happens because muscle glycogen is empty and insulin sensitivity is high. Also, when a person eats after a long fast, higher calorie meals can be processed better and more smoothly. And when foods have a balanced composition, even 600 to 800 calories can be tolerated better. Meals rich in protein, fiber, and unsaturated fats like salmon, vegetables, and olive oil causes far less harm than 900 calories of pizza and soda. One of the best tips is walk right after you eat. Around 20 minutes of brisk walking, starting within 10 to 30 minutes after finishing the meal, can reduce blood glucose level up to 20%. Second tip is to add fiber before carbs. For example, eat gel-forming fiber, which slows gastric emptying and binds to carbohydrates to reduce their absorption. For example, 5 to 10 grams of psyllium diluted in water, taken 10 to 15 minutes before high-carb meals. It can reduce peak glucose around 20% and even improve second meal effect later in the day. The third tip is put fiber or protein-containing foods first. They blunt the rate of glucose entry and stimulate insulin secretion more steadily, and less oxidative stress is triggered. Eat salad and protein first and then rice, pasta, or bread. This can reduce glucose spike up to 35% compared to eating carbs first. Vinegar is also helpful with carb meals because acetate slows gastric emptying and enhances skeletal muscle glucose uptake. For example, 1 or 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in a dressing or diluted into a water with a meal. And fifth tip is break up sitting for 2 to 3 hours. Try to not to sit for a prolonged period of time. Every 20 to 30 minutes, get up and walk for 1 or 2 minutes. Be active. Even light activity, interrupting sitting, reduces post-meal glycemia and activates muscles. Small meals are balance, large meals are battle. Which one do you want your body to fight today?